Checking to see if you have a diastasis or abdominal separation is something that all mums should do after having a baby. Nearly 100% of all mums will have one when we give birth, because that is how our stomachs make room to have a baby, so we don't pop. So we need to wait until at least those first 6 to 8 weeks after having a baby to check to see if we have one. When we have natural closing or healing, it is in those first 6 to 8 weeks, so checking before that really doesn't do any good. Leave your stomach alone, let it heal, get lots of rest, and then after those 8 weeks is when you want to start having your first check to see, okay, do I have one or don't I? So there's a lot of information out there on the internet about the right way to check, and it is very easy to get a false positive or a false negative. So I'm going to walk you through some of those steps and things to watch out for. The first thing that we want to do is find out where your belly button is. So if I come back a little bit, here is my belly button here, and I'm going to come 3 fingers up from my belly button and turn my fingers sideways. So that is where my first check is going to go when I'm lying down. What we're going to be doing is feeling for those 2 sides of your rectus muscle or your 6-pack muscles, and feeling if they're coming together or if they're still sitting wider apart. Okay, now a gap from 1 finger to 2 fingers is completely normal. If you can stick all your fingers down in your stomach, then that is something that we want to work on improving. There should be a nice amount of tension there. So if you think about pushing your finger on your tip of your nose, that is the sort of tension that we're looking for between those 2 rectus abdominal muscles. So we're not so worried about how wide it is. It's can you generate the tension that you need to support your internal organs and support your back with your core muscles. So your first check is from the belly button, 3 fingers up and sideways. We can also have a diastasis on the lower part of our abdominals. So then we take 3 fingers down. Again, we turn sideways, and we're going to be looking again for that distance between the 2 sides of the rectus abdominis, first of all, but also the depth and if there's any squishiness. Now, your belly button is a natural hole in your connective tissue, so that is the weakest point, and very often we might just have a little diastasis right around your belly button. So we want to have a little feel around there and see, is it something that's sinking in a lot, or do we have that tension there as well? So I'm lying down on the floor and my knees are at 90 degrees. So I'm in the position that I would have if I was just going to do a normal sit-up. I'm going to pull my top up for you so that you can see, and I'll pull these ones down a little bit as well. So what we're looking for, okay, nice neutral spine. There's my belly button. I'm coming up those 3 fingers and turning sideways. I'm going to tuck my chin to my chest and just lift my head and shoulders a little bit off the floor. So I'm not coming up into a full sit-up. I'm just lifting up a little bit, and as you can see, I have a little bit of a gap between my abdominal muscles, one side and then the other. So I have about, there we go, I have about 1 finger gap between those 2 muscles, but it's not very deep, okay? That is our first step. So yes, I have a little bit of a gap and I have a diastasis. I have had one for a long time, so that is not a shock. But we want to test if we can generate the tension that we need to support. So I'm going to add a head lift with a pelvic floor contraction this time. So I'm going to take a nice deep breath in, and I'm going to activate my pelvic floor and my lower abdominal muscles and my transverse abdominal muscles. I'm going to breathe out, and I'm going to lift, and as you can see, nothing. I'm not going in anywhere. That's firm as anything, okay? And then down. So then we want to test on that lower abdominal. So there's my 3 fingers, and I'm going sideways down here, okay? Breathe out, little head lift, no pelvic floor contraction, and I'm looking again. Do I have that space? Can I feel those 2 sides of those abdominal muscles down there? Yes, I can, but this time it's firm. So my diastasis has always been up from my belly button. Okay, so this time I'm going to test just a little bit around my belly button, just above. Okay, lift. Okay, 1 finger, a little bit deeper there, and then I'm going to test it with the abdominal, lower abdominal and pelvic floor contraction. So then I activated, and now I'm firm. Okay, not going in deep there at all, nothing below, still that 1 little finger above. So that is how we test for diastasis.